Welcome back to a brand new review for Moon Knight Episode 5, Asylum, with your host Terrell and Sherelle.
Sherelle Dominique. You're never going to get used to that.
I've never had another person's name rhyme with mine, so it's kind of weird. So best episode of the season so far. Can we agree?
Yes, we can agree.
No action in it. Definitely one of the best episodes. So this episode gives us all the insight that we've been looking for, the how to, the when, and everything about it. So first start off, we're gonna confirm that Steven and Marc actually did die. And
yes.
They are basically in the Underworld. And they are fighting to save their souls. They have to wear their souls. First of all, what did you think about the kind of revelation that they actually did die, and that they were on a boat?
Right. Yeah. So it's called the Duat, which is like the Egyptian afterlife, which is you're on a river, right, going to like your final judgment. It was crazy that they were dead, because I thought we already had talked about like maybe they were like in the in-between, but this actually confirmed that they did die.
Right.
But then at the same time, it's like, are they still in the in-between where they can like come back to life or be awakened or some kind of thing? But it's a little confusing, because then I'm like, well, what's going to happen next episode? If they are dead. They are dead, but if they don't come back to life, what's going to happen in the next episode? But this episode was very, very enlightening and informative, and it answered a lot of questions.
So, I can't think of the hippopotamus's name. They said it like 3 times, but she explains like there are multiple planes that exist like this. It's not your physical body, but like your consciousness, basically, that exist on this plane. And like she was saying like these different planes, and it made me think about the Black Panther movie and how they were able to connect to that astral plane and see the consciousness of like his ancestors, or the people that use the Black Panther powers or whatever. He was able to talk to his dad and his grandpa and everybody else that was a Black Panther. So definitely confirming like obviously like these different planes of existence, after death. So maybe we get to see Tony.
Right, exactly.
And again, the show is like still staying away from like really touching on like the MCU side of things, like really hasn't like connected those dots, confirming that it's in that same universe.
Right.
And pretty much like the hippopotamus, I get to remember the name. It's confirming that it's Taweret or something like that. It's Taweret, but I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not gonna pronounce that. Yeah. Pretty much like confirming that the asylum that they're in is based on the person, not the it's not the ship itself, but the plane that they're in or the surroundings is based on the person. So for whatever reason, like they're right, like they're in like an insane asylum because they think they're crazy. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
they pretty much could have been anywhere. And of course, they like
it's nice that they admitted that they're crazy.
Right.
I feel like they hadn't been wanting to admit that this whole time.
They also escape from the ship, and I guess so from the asylum, and realize that they're on the ship, and pretty much like they're driving on sands, and they're on their way to what you say, Osiris? No. What
I just know it's like the final
right,
judgment.
But before they could do that, they had to weigh their hearts.
Right.
Again, not because they're two different.
Which is balancing the scales, yeah.
Right. Basically, like he's like they, because they're two different consciousness, like they're trying to balance like that one heart, basically, because they do share the same body.
Right.
like I said, I just thought it was interesting, like them kind of running around, they go through like their past or through the memories of Marc and Steven.
Yeah.
What did you think about just kind of going through the past and like what we got there, and confirming the revelation that Marc is the original?
Yeah, so Marc's the original, but Steven thought that he was the original. Basically, that's where I said it was like very informative, because we see how Steven was created. Steven was created to have the good life and not the trauma that Marc went through as a child, with his brother drowning, him blaming himself for it, his mother blaming himself for it, his father not even standing up for him, and then it was just like, I don't know how often we see Marvel get into abuse or child abuse in that sense, and how it has like that mental effect on you, and that's basically where he created Steven. So he's created Steven to not have those traumas, and then that's when you see that Steven thought his mom was alive all this time, and she's dead. So, and then Arthur's trying to explain that to Steven, but he's like, no, she's alive. But, of course, Marc created that for him.
I thought it was interesting too, because like episode 1, I could have sworn he was talking to his mom. Or maybe
he was talking to the voicemail. He kept, like, he would call and then it would go to voicemail, then he would leave her like a voice message, like he was talking to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was like, hey mom. Yeah, but he's not talking to anybody.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like you said, I mean, like a lot of the heroes in the MCU, man, I feel like they always go through some type of trauma or something.
They always have some type of trauma.
From Gamora to Star-Lord to death of the mom, and no dad, stuff like that. Just dealing with that stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like no happiness in the MCU for whatever reason. But I guess in that sense they had touched on it, because I do remember Nebula was technically kind of like abused by Thanos. Mm-hmm. So they have gotten into it, but we're just seeing it in a different perspective, right, where it's a little bit deeper, because we actually visually seeing it versus hearing it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, like they said, like this, because it's definitely a heavy-hitter episode, like to see like your mom blame you for the death of a sibling and not give you the love or console you the same way. Because that's a lot on the kid for you to blame yourself for some situation like that, and you already hurting about that, but then you gotta worry about your mom coming at your neck every 5 minutes, and just definitely, like you said, it wasn't his fault. He was a kid. It was nothing he could do, but of course,
right,
him to that cave, he's going to feel responsible, and like I said, definitely with the dissociative disorder, that is usually caused by like those traumas and stuff like that, especially
it is.
You completely just want to separate yourself from the situation, which is what he did, I feel like they were picking up on that for a while, like, Steven was the fate because of that movie and everything like that. Now we know where he got it from, where he developed that character from, but, to the point where he's given the character, like, that his other side of him is a whole life to live.
Yeah.
And they have the scene.
And he said that. He's like, I wanted you to have the better life. And then you see like the dynamic between Marc and the father as he leaves. And I guess too, where's the timeline as far as when was Steven created, right, to take over the life in a way? Maybe when he left. Maybe that's when he created Steven.
Yeah, so definitely after that, you could definitely, up to that point, they were kind of just like, he was letting Steven live his life, because he was still a mercenary as an adult, but he
right,
that point where his mother died is where he lost control, like you said, where everything kind of blended together. And
right.
Now, we get to see the whole scene where Khonshu first takes over. And Wade, he goes to the temple, and Khonshu, kind of turns him into his warrior of justice.
Right.
And your boy Marc got a body count out here.
Yeah, and you see him trying to come to terms with his past too throughout this, and then you see where Steven has sympathy for him, because I mean, obviously Steven has he's the one with the conscience, so he's kind of like he's sympathetic to Mark once he figures out like why he is the way that he is, but he's also judgmental, so he's like, you're a murderer type of thing, but then he becomes sympathetic and accepting of Mark's past, and you kind of see like a little bit of like their relationship build, and then you also see Steven become a lot more confident when he's on this boat, because he's like, well, hell, if we're the same person, he was like, I can fight.
Yeah, he realized like, yeah, I should have these abilities as well. Like,
I should have these abilities for him. Still ain't got no abilities. He did his thing a little bit, but you know,
it's all muscle.
He tried.
Yeah, definitely just kind of skipping around. Like you say, we see the point where like Steven, you know, kind of takes over. Like while he's in that room, you know, Mom busts through that door, you know, with the belt.
No, that wasn't even a belt. It was a cane.
Oh, was it a belt? Jesus Christ.
It looked like one of those canes, like one of those metal canes. If it was a belt, that belt looked real metal-like. I'm gonna go back and watch now.
So I mean, at that point, like too, like, you know, he continued to deal with that for like years more down the road, because he was like a teenager, probably like 16 or 17. Yeah. You know, he couldn't take it anymore. He moved out. By the time he came back, Mom was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you know, regardless of what she did to him, he still had love for her. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for that.
Children are very forgiving. They're very forgiving when it comes to their parents. And unfortunately, they associate that with love.
Right. And you can see, I kind of get his point too, like where he was talking about like with his father, like yeah, you were there, you know, you basically could have did something, like, you know, anytime, you know, definitely got her the help that she needed or whatever, you know, maybe not put her in a home, but like, you know what I mean, like you sit here and watch this woman say all this to your son, and you know, like I said, you still, you know, you lost one kid, but you still got to protect another one. So I just definitely could have did a better job. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just kind of just being passive and just like, oh, we just gonna deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, why he's like, she's just physically and mentally abusing your son. Like, it's not so much of that you can take. Like,
yeah. I definitely sympathize with him on that one, because how could you allow that to happen? And like, what are you thinking as it's happening? You know.
I mean, at some point, I'm like, yeah, you know, you wanna obviously you wanna protect your wife, you wanna make that work by any means possible. But at some point, it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to grab my son and go if it's going to continue to be like this. You know what I mean? Like,
just have like that conversation where it's just like, do you need help? Because she could have easily been, you know, put on some kind of medicine or some kind of medication to help with her moods, you know.
Yeah, because, you know, obviously, you know, you say you don't show favoritism towards your kids, or, you know, you don't. And she was hurt. She's like, oh, you never liked him. So, you know, I always felt like you tried to do something to him anyway. Felt like this was intentional. Like, oh, that's you tell somebody.
That's deep, yeah.
Kill somebody like that. Like, that's wild. So, man, it's a lot to compact in here, especially with the trauma here. But they still haven't gotten into that third personality, if one exists. It might just
we haven't seen. Well, they did. They kind of glimpsed it, but that person ran away. Do you remember that part when they had the conversation? Was it? No, it was after the scene with the little boy right when the mom died. We saw another version of them, but he ran away. It was very quick.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, and
maybe I'm tripping, but I could have sworn I saw a third one.
I'm at to watch it.
Like I said,
it's only supposed to be 6 episodes. Honestly, I feel like we're just now getting into the meat, like of like what's going on, and like the why. And I don't feel like 6 is enough. I feel like this is definitely going to need a 6th season. I mean, it depends on how this ends next week. But like I said, I feel like I just need a little bit more to see like what's going on. We need a little bit more time. But my only issue of concern with that is Oscar Isaac is like a top actor, so he's consistently going to be working. I don't know when they're going to have time to do this.
You know? Right. He'll make time for it. Everybody makes time for Marvel.
But yeah, we get to the point in the episode where they do finally balance out the scales, or they whatever, and like Marc and Steven are fighting off like the zombies or whatever they are, like the people with like the
they did.
And your boy Steven get caught up and knocked off the ship and turns into like whatever.
Sandstone. Yeah, he becomes like solid sand. But that's the only way that they were able to balance the scales, was with one of them dying, or with Steven dying.
Yeah,
because remember, she was like, she said she finally had said, "Oh, it worked," but it was only after Steven had died.
I wonder, like, will Steven stay dead, or like this is like a way of like them getting rid of that other personality, or this is him finally dealing with the trauma of what happened, so he no longer needs Steven. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It'll just be him and like whatever else they got going on, and whatever other personalities he got in his head.
Right.
So yeah, we see that, and then of course they arrive to like the gate because the scales are finally balanced, and then we'll get nothing.
Nothing. It ends.
Because the plan was to send a message to Layla, get Khonshu, hurry up and get your body, and get Khonshu to revive him.
Yes.
That's the plan. If somehow that works, you know what I mean? Even though they're finally free.
Right, but if Marc's dead, then Layla's probably next in line to become Khonshu.
That'd be cool. I'll take that. On my Moon Knight, I was like, oh my god, they really said that. Like, I was like, so I feel like certain characters, like, they don't actually have a name. Like, they're like, oh, you can be Moon Knight. Like, okay.
Right. Yeah. I'm ready to see what happens, but I think at this point it feels rushed because now we're just getting into the information and things of like what's of the background. Because now we're still in the process of trying to stop Arthur from waking up the god.
As you said, it does feel a little rushed because we're going to have to do everything in like one episode.
One episode, yeah.
So, what do you see kind of next episode kind of going? Like, obviously him getting revived, he's not going to die, right? Like, fully die.
Yeah. So if Marc wakes up or he's revived, then of course they have to go through the process of stopping Arthur. I don't know if they're going to kill him or not, and then bringing back Khonshu. But if Marc's dead, then I think it's going to have to be Layla. It's going to be on her. Or they just bring back Maat and the world ends.
I feel like they should.
I mean, there's that.
They should have got to that. I feel like episode like 5, and then 6 like already pick up from there, because I feel like this whole reveal should have happened like an episode earlier. Like
it's gonna be very. It's gonna if Maat is back, and of course the souls that are already dead, that Arthur has already taken, or the lives that Arthur has already taken, it's gonna very much be like Thanos' snap, where it's like 50% of the world's population is going to be gone. And so the same kind of situation is going to happen again if Maat comes back and prejudges everybody. That's going to do something wrong in the future. It's not going to be a lot of people left.
We'll see. I mean, we got
and then maybe Doctor Strange can rewind time.
Nah, Doctor Strange about to. He already got a demotion. He not the Sorcerer Supreme. So
he already in a lot of trouble.
We'll see next week when that comes out. Hope you got your tickets.
I can't wait.
But anything else you want to say on this episode? Like, I feel like you got.
No, I actually really enjoyed this episode. Like I said, it was very enlightening and it was deep. I really enjoyed this episode. Last week's episode was good, but this was even better.
I definitely teared up a little bit. Maybe it was like, man.
No.
hit the deep childhood trauma, man. People getting killed. It's good episode. Like I said, that we know Steven knows he's made up. He's a fake. Mark is the original. Any questions? It never felt like Steven was like the original to me. Like, you know what I mean? But
especially if we're going to say that, because Steven had a little bit more sense, but he was still very like socially awkward. But if I could still see him being the original, but now that I kind of see Mark in his true story, you can definitely tell that Steven was the made-up version.
Mark is Jewish too. We didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
So his dad was definitely Jewish. Like out here killing him.
Right.
But
I'm surprised his scales balanced.
Right.
But, didn't send him straight to hell.
Like you said, good episode. His mom sucked. She could have did better. She could have handled that better. Hey, it's a tough situation to deal with. Nobody wants to lose a child. But come on, man. Don't do that. Don't. But like I said, good episode. I can't wait to see how they end this. I don't know how they're going to be able to do this in an hour next week. I feel like
they're going to give us 2 hours.
It'd be nice, but I feel like no way they're going to do this. They might. I'd be nice if they snuck 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half. I'll take an hour and a half. I feel like an hour and a half, but they probably
that would be good.
But I'm fine.
Well, I can say I doubt if there's like a mysterious episode we don't know about. But yeah, maybe like an hour and a half would be good.
But other than that, I saw anything else?
No, that's it.
Well, all right, that was episode 5, Asylum of Moon Knight. Let us know what you think about the episode in the comments. Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to the Around the Geek YouTube channel before we get Sherelle on, because we're in the last episode of Moon Knight. Hopefully we can get some more stuff to get Sherelle on and keep going. So.
Yeah, of course.
Right. But check us out, and we're out. See you.
Bye.